You're listening to That's Pretty Dark,
the podcast where we talk about all the entertainment that scared us as children
and still haunts us as adults. So grab your flashlight and join us as we take a frightfully nostalgic look over our shoulders.
And under our beds.
And in our closets.
And together, we'll realize, whoa, that's pretty dark.
Return to Oz. It's more like Return to Autumn.
Return to Autumn. Yeah.
I've been neck deep in Christmas folklore research, and so having to go back to Return to Oz is like, wow.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's like getting electroshock therapy.
As you can probably hear in my voice, I've been ill, like very ill. I have not recovered from whatever illness that isn't the flu and isn't COVID, but makes you feel like the Gnome King is like sitting on your chest and you can't breathe. But I'm clearly back in the saddle. But what I will say is that I don't recommend doing in-depth research on a fever dream of a film while you have an actual fever.
That sounds trippy as hell.
It's been a journey for me in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
That sounds like losing your head.
Sounds kind of like losing your head.
Having your head put on another person's body.
I felt that way for quite a few days of the last 2 weeks.
Discombobulated.
Discombobulating.
So we're discombobulated tonight
on That's Pretty Dark
podcast.
Where my name is Kaylin.
My name is Christian, and I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to jump into this movie and talk all about it.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it, and clearly it wasn't ready for me, but we met merged souls somewhere along the way, and I hope that all of you will feel the same when we get to the end of our Yellow Brick Road this evening. As we will continually say, this film is at times nightmarish and mind-bending, but it's also ambitious in that it dug deeper into its source material than most Oz counterparts or Oz adaptations. It left a window open to restore Baum's original concepts around Oz, and it also managed to incorporate this dream/trauma structure that was introduced by the MGM film in a very distinctly 80s way. As we said in part one, there is a whole lot of nostalgia packed into this film, whether you were able to watch it at the time of its release, or you've only just now been exposed to its darkness, or something kind of somewhere in between. We know that director Walter Murch struggled through the chaos of production. We talked a lot about that in our part one episode, but his storied sound and editing career afforded him a crystal clear grasp on tone and emotion. And I think that's the key to the nostalgic ache that this film evokes for everyone that watches it, almost universally.
Definitely.
And I also think that that nostalgic ache covered a multitude of potential sins. So on the subject of keys, let's begin at the beginning, where a forlorn Dorothy Gale is gazing out her Aunt Em's farmhouse window at the stars above.
So wistful.
It's so wistful. And on the night that I started this research, which was now over a month ago, I had been outside, like looking at the full moon, looking at the stars. Like I was just like standing outside for 20 minutes looking at the sky. And I was like, I have to go watch this movie. I have to get this started. And came inside, immediately pressed play on this movie and this scene, not having any idea what I was walking into. And it felt weirdly poignant to me. We run across that a lot of times in our research, and as we are diving into this stuff, there's this like strange echo of a feeling through time and space and fiction, because I feel like we're all kind of looking for something else out there.
Always trying to wish on those stars. I know I am.
Always wishing on stars. Tailor-made for me. Dorothy is restless, and she has been seemingly since the tornado incident about 6 months prior.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Who wouldn't be?
My God, she was transported to another land, and now she's home in this boring-ass farmhouse.
Can't you sleep?
She says, I wish I could put my head on my paws and go to sleep like Toto. And Aunt Em says, soon you will. What do you know that we don't, Aunt Em?
Soon we will. I did crush up those pills and put it in your warm milk this evening.
Right?
You gotta get some sleep, Dorothy.
While Aunt Em is comforting Dorothy, Uncle Henry eyes an article in the turn-of-the-century newspaper about electric healing.
Yeesh.
They exchange a few words when she emerges, Uncle Henry reticent about taking her sister's charity to afford these new treatments, and Aunt Em resigned to accepting help from family because of Dorothy's fragile condition. Though they discuss this within Dorothy's earshot, her attention is captured by a bright shooting star, which she points out to Toto. Well, it might be more than just a shooting star. The next morning, while collecting eggs from the chickens and berating one named Bellina in particular for not laying, she finds a skeleton key in the hay. She traces what looks like an interdiction symbol at the top of the key with her finger, narrating what her imagination revealed there instead. O-Z.
Oz.
She runs to show Aunt Em, claiming it's proof of Oz sent to her by her friends on a shooting star. But Aunt Em barely looks up from washing the eggs, saying it's a key to the old tornadoed farmhouse that she had turned 1,000 times before.
Where do they sleep?
And they're trying to rebuild their farmhouse. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they're attempting to.
Yeah, it's all kinds of stress on Uncle Henry and Aunt Em. And this moment with the two of them encapsulates so much about like the juxtaposition of childhood and adulthood that we talk about all the time, even though they're both like preoccupied with their own worries. Burdened by multiple mortgages and a broken Henry, Aunt Em's feet are firmly, almost defensively planted in the dust and dirt of reality, as dismissive as any of us can become when facing practical existential dread.
I mean, yeah, that's a one day at a time mentality right there.
I don't know how you do it any other way. Dorothy persists, and Aunt Em asks if she remembers what they said about Oz, and Dorothy recounts that she shouldn't talk about it because it's all in her imagination. Aunt Em is exasperated, but in like this quiet, sad way, because she just needs Dorothy to sleep through the night so she can help her on the farm. She's got a kid with a mental health disorder that she's out of her depth in solving. She's got an oncoming winter to survive in not a house. And it just made me think of that Prairie Book of Death, or what was it called that we talked about?
This book?
You did buy it. I was going to ask. Wisconsin Death Trip.
Yeah, Wisconsin Death Trip.
There it is.
It's incredible. There are so many pictures of dead people in this book. It's unreal. There are just so many things in here to look at.
I'm so glad it's on your shelves now, haunting you and yours.
And I love it. There's like clippings of like old newspaper excerpts from things, just like talking about all the tragedies.
Miserable.
It's horrible.
So much going on. Just
like children vanishing after like reporting crimes and stuff. And houses burning down. Just
like living in a land without law, kind of, because they're all it's pioneers. It's prayer. You know, they're kind of on the frontier of this, creating society from the ground up. And unfortunately, there's probably a lot of darkness that takes advantage of that
suicide,
lack of structure.
Despair, fire, incendiary, diphtheria, murder, religious suicide, poisoning, envy, starvation, arson, grotesque insanity, brothel in the woods.
Whoa.
Amnesia, in delirium, epidemic, suicide, death.
Diphtheria.
It just goes on and on and on. That was just a list of like problems.
I mean, we think we have it rough in 2025, and I'm not saying that we don't by any means, but holy shit.
It's a different sort of struggle.
Yeah.
We're on a different color struggle bus.
We all have our demons to face, whatever year we're born in.
Anyway, yes, I did get that book, and I'm really glad that I did.
Glad we can all share this heartwarming moment together, made possible by Wisconsin Death Trip.
Made possible by those who died in Wisconsin, oh so many moons ago.
Soon, Dorothy and Aunt Em are off across the very American countryside, I promise, on the horse and buggy, Toto trailing behind and eventually turned back.
My question is...
just let her bring the dog. That's what I was saying.
Well, yeah.
Let her bring the goddamn dog. It's very important that she brings the dog.
I think that would have helped her a lot in this case, just, to cope with everything.
Right.
But my question is, they're out there in this vast landscape. There are no buildings to be seen except for the few structures they pass by.
Like the downtown of...
yeah, like an old Western movie,
Yeah.
But like miles and hundreds of miles of nothing. And they're talking to each other outside. And their voices are echoing.
Bye, Uncle Henry.
Go get yourselves back here by dark.
We will.
Echoes against what?
The ground.
No, that doesn't happen. It's not a thing.
I don't know, man.
There's so much echo in this dialogue that they added later in post. I just don't understand why.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they added it because it feels more ominous when things echo.
Yeah, but realistic.
Just ask Princess Mombi. We're not there yet, but we will be. They arrive at an ominous red brick estate, clearly serving as an asylum or sanitarium, and we are jolted inside to a wood-paneled office where Dorothy is propped up on this classic psychiatrist couch, which was popularized by Freud in the late 1800s. So that's a nice touch. Like they're on the cutting edge of psychiatry, at least by all appearances.
Psychiatry iconography.
Dorothy's mid-story, detailing descriptions of her friends from Oz, the Emerald City, the Ruby Slippers. Her rant about the Tin Man was imperfect in this perfectly childlike way. Like this was just Feruza, saying these lines. And I love that they kept the take. Like it wasn't perfect and it made it feel all the more lived in. The doctor takes particular interest in the Ruby Slippers, asking her where they are now, if they got her home. And I kind of like that he zeroed in on this like device or convention that brought her home when he's analyzing her symptoms, because it does seem kind of clinically significant to me.
How you got there and then how you got home are two of the most important elements of a story.
Especially a story like this.
Mm-hmm. Psychological break.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
She's lost in thought for a moment, deciding that they must have fallen off on the way back. And that feeling gets to me too. That feeling of like, wait, I was just in a dream. I was just holding something.
Mm-hmm.
This whole movie feels like that often, honestly.
Yeah.
I was even feeling it when I woke up this morning. I got hit by it really hard. Like I was just somewhere else. I don't even remember where I was, but I was somewhere else a split second ago. And it's that spooky, like in between place that I feel like this movie really does a good job of like letting live and breathe. The doctor claims he knows just the thing to cheer Dorothy up.
This electrical marvel will make it possible for you to sleep again. And it will also get rid of all those bad waking dreams that you've been telling me about.
Dorothy sees the reflection of a young blonde girl in the glass, but the doctor's busy being hauntingly faux playful about this device, describing the different levers and gauges. And
it even has a face.
yeah, the machine's face. And Dorothy cuts right to the chase.
Will it hurt?
That's my question.
He claims it won't, that it just manages electrical currents, and he begins to wax poetic about the dawn of the 20th century, an electric century. He says that when the electrical machine of the brain malfunctions, like with a blow to the head, for example, then it produces useless excess currents. And these excess currents are our dreams and delusions, just like the dreams you have, Dorothy. And now we have the means to control these excess currents.
Mind control.
Yeah, I like the use of the word control.
Emotional manipulation.
There's all kinds of political, sociological commentary we could make here about the capitalist machine dictating to us that our excess brain currents are just useless. Dreams and delusions. Who needs those?
Yeah, no.
Who needs those?
You shouldn't think.
Mm-mm.
You shouldn't want.
No, just work. Work and spend and work and spend and work and spend and die.
I mean, that's my philosophy. It's gotten me this far.
Gotta be. Don't have a choice.
What could go wrong?
As we know, the psychiatric element wasn't present at all in the books and was invented for the film by the 80s minds of Walter Murch and Dennis Gill. But facts dictate that though bioelectric therapy had been explored for about a century and a half, psychiatric uses were more quackery than reality up until the 1930s.
How long was it around before the 1930s?
Well, bioelectric medicine has a long and sordid history, beginning with ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Romans. They were all using like electric eels and other types of fish as methods of pain relief and sedation. And then around the mid-1700s, machines were developed to produce static electricity for the same purpose. So like machines that would basically harness static electricity.
This is wild.
And then battery power came in like the early 19th century.
I just didn't know it went back that far.
It's wild in general. It's absolutely wild. The things that people had to go through to sort this stuff out.
Hold on, let me just grab this electric fish. And,
Zap, zap.
Cut your leg off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Honestly. In the mid-1800s, electrotherapy was brought into mainstream medicine by Golding Bird, who was a doctor specializing in electrochemistry. And I learned some stuff on Wikipedia.
Bird, who was a member of the London Electrical Society, was innovative in the field of the medical use of electricity, designing much of his own equipment. In his time, electrical treatment had acquired a bad name in the medical profession. Electric shock treatment had become fashionable among the public, but often was not favored by physicians except as a last resort. Its popularity led to many inappropriate treatments, and fraudulent practitioners were widespread. Quack practitioners claimed the treatment as a cure for almost anything, regardless of its effectiveness, and made large sums of money from it. Bird, however, continued to stand by the treatment when properly administered. Quack practitioners.
It's really tricky when there's like a new innovation like this and it's not really widely understood. Like there's not like a baseline level of how this works that the general population understands. So it can be manipulated to be anything that opportunistic quacktitianers want it to be.
I feel like that's true for anything.
Yeah.
Like literally anything. More and more so in the political sphere these days.
Hey.
Only the educated or the enlightened or, the informed person can use this kind of stuff. And most laymen have no idea what these things are, how they work, or that it won't work to cure your illness. But you know what?
Right.
I say it will. So pay me. And I'm a doctor.
Pay me and we'll see.
Or I say I'm a doctor.
And Bird was right about the fact that it did have application, but his focus was on physical disorders, like different types of muscle spasm disorders and that sort of thing, using the electric therapy to treat electric currents in the body.
I mean, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Applying the science to mental health patients in any kind of meaningful way took nearly another century after Bird was working.
Okay.
In 1938, Cerletti and his psychiatrist colleague Lucio Bini developed the first ECT device and treated their first human patient, a diagnosed schizophrenic with delusions, hallucinations, and confusion. The treatment worked just as planned, and the patient's condition improved markedly. And beginning in the 1940s, the electrical technique was adopted by almost every major psychiatric institution around the world as a treatment for serious mental disease. Cerletti and Bini were nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine in the 1930s for their work in electroconvulsive therapy.
Is that a good thing?
It sounds so brutal and dark, but it did seem to help people.
I mean, if it helps one person, I guess.
As medicine and pharmaceutical treatments advanced in the 1960s, psychiatrist Thomas Szasz spearheaded what came to be known as the anti-psychiatry movement, which attacked psychiatry on multiple fronts, including the practice of ECT, which he viewed as inhumane and torturous. And then ECT fell out of favor in the 60s and 70s, but it made a resurgence in the 80s. Which made it pretty relevant for this story. And today, it's a widely accepted treatment for serious mental disorders and is taught and practiced at hospitals throughout the world. It's estimated that 1 million people receive ECT annually.
Yeah, no, I've learned recently that it is still common. And I thought something like this would have been,
a thing of the past.
Banned, outlawed.
It's alive and well, because ECT's discovery as an effective treatment for severe mental disorder represented the first real hope for patients once considered to be untreatable, like untreatable with psychiatric drugs and medicine. And it continues to offer many patients relief from otherwise unrelenting and debilitating psychiatric symptoms.
I guess it sounds less invasive than a lobotomy.
Sure. If we're choosing the lesser of these things.
If I have to choose.
I don't know why we always feel like we have to choose. I don't know who's putting that pressure on us.
Why are you holding the gun to my head? I don't want to choose.
I really don't want to choose. But try telling any of this history to a 1910s Dorothy Gale or a theater-going audience of children in the 80s, for that matter. It's safe, Dorothy. We promise.
I can't believe this is a kid's movie.
I don't know that it would have been safe when administered by Dr. Worley. Just saying.
No, he does not seem to have very good intentions.
I don't think he has a grasp on it quite.
No.
Regardless of how safe the treatment itself is purported to be.
Practitioner.
Be a good girl and do everything the doctor and the head nurse tell you. And I'll be back tomorrow and we'll go home.
A stoic Nurse Wilson clutches Dorothy's hand as Aunt Em kneels down to tell her goodbye, and Aunt Em says that she needs to get back to Uncle Henry before nightfall. But honestly, in this moment, she seems more hesitant than Dorothy herself. She thought they would only stay for a short time, and she's never left Dorothy out of her sight among strangers.
She's in good hands, Miss.
Though the doctor insists that she's in good hands, it's obvious Aunt Em is now feeling and simultaneously talking herself out of some of these sinister vibes.
Nurse Wilson's given Nurse Ratched vibes to me.
In a big way, and it only gets worse.
I was like, she might be nice. She might be. Maybe.
Doubtful.
I don't know.
I do know that baby Kaylin and her separation anxiety would have been fascinated and absolutely terrified by just this scene alone. The goodbye between Dorothy and Aunt Em. The prospect of being left alone anywhere, let alone at a mental institution overnight.
Yeah.
And your caregiver's confidence in this whole thing is clearly wavering. You can tell.
Possibly haunted too.
I mean, yeah, it's more than just
the little girl she's seeing and all the reflections.
God. I mean, yeah, if I had watched this as a child, this scene of all scenes may have been the most painful for me, in a psychological way.
I mean, as it progresses, I would have gotten way more and more disturbed. I mean, it is a disturbing sequence in general.
Yeah, she's being left in this moment, and you can feel the separation between her and Aunt Em. There's suddenly there's a gulf between them.
Yeah, it's we're gonna go. Got to get back before dark, and everything's gonna be fine.
But
and
she's
now it's I
not
have
really
to
buying it.
Leave you here now. If that had ever happened, I would have. I would have had some severe abandonment issues.
Totally freaked out. Dorothy puts on a brave face, asking if Aunt Em can bring Toto when she comes to collect her, and Aunt Em shows true compassion now, saying, "Of course she will."
Yes, of course I will.
That ripped my heart out.
Yeah.
Annam exits stage left, taking with her any sense of comfort or normalcy that Dorothy could cling to, and we follow Dorothy and Nurse Wilson down a dark hallway where Nurse Wilson discards Dorothy's lunch pail on a squeaky passing gurney, saying, "You won't need that."
Is that because they're going to have a nice feast for her, like a nice, lavish
Feast on her.
dinner? Ooh. On her.
Hansel and Gretel? I don't know.
Never mind.
Every tiny little action, every tiny little moment feels so engineered to isolate Dorothy as far as from a filmmaking standpoint, and for the audience to watch that happen. And it's really well done. She sets her up in a small room with high windows and says they'll be back to get her when they're ready. And she can nap if she wishes. I don't know who is going to be napping in this circumstance,
not.
much less a 10-year-old girl.
And also, how long do I have? Because I don't want to lie down.
Right. You're just going to come right back in
here. It takes
here.
me an hour to fall asleep. If I doze off, is that when you're going to come in the room?
Definitely. That's the way that works.
Catch me off guard.
Dorothy watches from her too-high window as Annam's buggy fades into the distance, and then again catches this same blonde girl in the reflection. She turns around now, and the door is still closed, but she finds the girl standing before her, offering her a jack-o'-lantern, since it'll be Halloween soon.
And why not,
Why not? We're going to say that a lot today. Why not? Why wouldn't it happen like that? Why wouldn't this be the case? Here's a jack-o'-lantern. Happy Halloween.
Why did they bring you here, Dorothy? Because I can't sleep.
She talks about a place she's been to, but nobody believes exists. With a clap of thunder and a loud, pained moan from another room, the girl says she has to go. And when Dorothy turns to watch the lightning, she disappears as quickly as she'd arrived. We see more moody, rainy, atmospheric shots as Dorothy opens the door and looks for the girl down the hall, finally returning to sit on the edge of her cot, resigned to her fate. This whole sequence was very well shot and edited, which, go figure. And the film's editor, by the way, was Leslie Hodgson, who was a protege of Murch's.
Okay.
So he was passing on his editing skills.
Nice.
And I'm sure doing a lot of mentoring through this film. The wheels of the gurney approach her door, which is ominously swung open by Nurse Wilson, flanked by several orderlies.
Would you like to go for a ride, Dorothy?
No.
Absolutely not.
Every
Never.
time, no.
Not in any universe.
Again and again, no.
Several beats of silence follow, and it hangs very, very heavy. Dorothy asks to sit up despite being told to lie down on the gurney, and she protests when they strap her in as well.
Why do you have to tie me down?
So that you don't fall off.
I came all the way from the farm in the buggy and didn't fall off.
You tell him, kid.
Yeah, I was very uneasy during this scene. So sad.
Her tenacity is met with dead eyes and two polite smiles as she's wheeled down the hallway, harsh overhead lighting casting their faces in off-putting shadow. Squeak, squeak go the gurney wheels. In the treatment room, the doctor flatly feigns kindness as he checks gauges and winds the machine. She's upset about being tied down, and she's asking too many questions for their liking. Just as they get the apparatus fitted over her ears and are preparing for a big ol' zap, the power cuts out, and the deafening electrical buzzing is instantly replaced in total darkness by thunderstorm ambiance and the idle screams of an 1890s asylum.
Is this a horror film?
It's just as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah, I'm describing it to you, and if you haven't seen it, Darklings, holy shit.
It just doesn't get much worse than that.
It's a lot. They leave Dorothy strapped in and alone to deal with the outage, but her friend, again, appears from nowhere. Dorothy asks about the screams as she's being hurriedly untied, and her friend replies that there are patients who have been damaged, locked in the cellar, so they need to leave quickly.
Yeah, so...
You want to say it or should I? That's pretty dark.
Why don't we both say it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, this is where the bass drops. There's the most ominous moment. This entire movie happens right at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree.
She's beginning to realize this is not a safe place to be. She didn't want to be here in the first place.
Right. And she was already pretty suspicious of that. Yeah,
she was already suspicious. Her aunt had to leave her there when she didn't intend to stay the night. And now it's the middle of the night. There's this lightning storm outside. It's very Frankenstein. It's very gothic. This whole sequence.
Very, very gothic. Very super duper gothic.
It just continues to double
gothic,
down.
Which is fun.
Power goes out. It gets super dark, and then there are screams throughout the asylum.
Ambient screaming.
This is a children's movie made by Disney.
It was about this point in the movie that I had the thought that I went into this expecting trippy fever dream scary. I did not go into this film expecting horror movie scary, but we
Realism.
got a 2-for-1.
Yeah, we did.
We really got a 2-for-1 on this one.
And they just leave her alone in the room strapped down to this bed.
It's been a minute since we've talked about like a true horror trope. You know, we talked with DJ about it with like Are You Afraid of the Dark and things like that, but we don't cover a whole lot of true horror movies just by nature of what they are.
There's not a lot of true horror for kids.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
This stands on its own.
It's wild
for
stuff,
sure.
man. I gotta get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be damaged.
With Dorothy now free, the girls race down the hallway, hiding from passing orderlies, and when spotted by Nurse Wilson, they bolt out into the storm.
God, it's a nightmare moment.
I'm also thinking, this little girl, Dorothy, she's escaping from this asylum. The storm is raging. She also has very real PTSD from the tornado.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the whole thing started because of a storm like this. And now she's just out there in the pitch darkness in a place she doesn't know with a person that she doesn't know, running from other people, different people that she doesn't know.
Yeah, she's like basically following a ghost out into the night to safety.
Yeah.
Running from potential murderers.
Running from harm of some kind, and it's still unclear exactly what kind.
Yeah, I mean, the books definitely don't give Dorothy any kind of mental health issues.
Mm-mm.
Oz is a real place that's visited over and over. And, you know, PTSD hadn't been invented yet by World War I.
Invented.
So, you know, they didn't know what it was. This is still early 20th century.
Yeah.
Shell shock hadn't come into vogue quite yet, so.
They rush into the woods and are pursued down an embankment and straight into a raging river. And these stunts looked rough.
I don't know how they filmed any of this.
It looked like they were struggling more than the Jumanji kids in that tank, more than the Goonies kids. Like, we've seen a lot of kids in water tanks for 80s movies.
Yeah.
80s and 90s, I guess. But holy cow, like, they were bobbing under the water frequently.
Yeah.
It looked terrifying. Not just scary on screen, but like potentially scary in real life.
And somewhere James Cameron went, I could make that into a movie. Just this whole concept, just struggling underwater.
We've got kids, we've got animals, we've got water tanks, just in the first 15 minutes. Nurse Wilson can't catch up to them, and they leave her behind. They're clinging to like a floating cage-like piece of driftwood, and a blonde head bobs under as Dorothy climbs into the drift structure and loses consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's real swimmy. Pun kind of intended. Like a river flows to the sea, so it goes. And we see a shot of a full moon overlooking a vast ocean.
Yeah, all rivers lead to the ocean, especially when you're in Kansas.
Yes.
Especially
all
Kansas
rivers straight to the sea.
Straight to the magical
very quickly.
sea.
Where Dorothy, then awakens the next morning, adrift in this wooden cage next to Bellina, the chicken. But, caveat, Bellina can talk now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Sure. I think I may have answered my own question from part 1.
What's that?
The difference between a hen and a chicken. Well, I didn't answer it, but I was reading the books again in preparation for
Someone answered it for us. Somebody commented.
Oh, well, I didn't see that. But is it that a hen is a grown chicken?
I can't remember what they said.
Because in the book, Dorothy's talking to Bellina and she's talking about being a chicken. And Dorothy says, you haven't been a chicken for a long time. You're a hen. And she's like, that's true. So I was like, is a hen just a grown up female
Yeah, I
chicken?
think a hen is just specifically an adult chicken that lays eggs.
What's that?
Oh, I was just trying to lay my egg, that's all.
Dorothy, who is still, brainwashed by silly grown-up conventions of reality, asks when Bellina learned to talk and ponders that if they were in the land of Oz, her talking wouldn't be strange at all.
Yeah, this wouldn't be a big
It'd
deal.
make total sense in Oz.
But it's super strange that you're doing this
here.
Elsewhere.
Bellina asks how big this pond is, and when Dorothy responds that she doesn't think it's a pond, we zoom out again to reveal that they are, indeed, settled in a very tiny puddle surrounded by a barren desert, which is trippy. Like, all of these effects, the way that they cut, I had to, rewind and go back multiple times because I was taking notes at the same time, but I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, what did I miss in the 30 seconds I looked down? We're not in Kansas anymore, but more like, where did all the rest of the water go?
Where did Kansas go?
Dorothy now recognizes that they must be in the land of Oz, specifically the Deadly Desert, where anything living that touches it turns to sand. And it's really good that she recalled that specific bit of Oz lore when she did.
Yeah, it's an important detail.
Very.
It's a good thing to remember.
She carries Bellina to safety, making a path out of stones and floors lava hopscotching to the nearby meadow, like her life isn't literally hanging in the balance. No problem. This dire, horrific potentiality.
She better
it can't be
balance
helped.
on those rocks.
We'll just do our best not to touch it.
Oh, yeah. And the whole "it can't be helped" thing is a quote.
That makes a lot of sense.
Can't be helped.
I'm glad we have your perspective to help us keep straight what's book and what's screen.
Oh, I've got the inside scoop.
And what's both. I kept wondering how this moment would have registered for me if I had been watching as a kid, because I don't have enough of whatever that kind of denial is in me for Dorothy to just go, okay, we'll just go across the deadly desert real quick. Like,
nothing we can do
hop,
about
skip,
it.
and a jump.
Let's move on, move forward.
I'm going to figure it out. And I'll probably do a pretty decent job of like the floor is lava thing, like the hopscotch. Like I might get there. Like it might be fine.
I'd fall off.
But not before I imagine certain death for myself in a zillion different ways.
Yeah.
Like it's not just going to be the kind of thing that I say, okay, cool. But it is for Dorothy.
Yeah, I think you need a little bit more of that. It can't be helped. Philosophy.
I guess I do.
Just like a little pinch of
I
salt.
mean, I'm getting there. Life is forcing it upon me, you know?
Yeah, it's just like one of the ingredients you need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess.
For the soup.
The soup, yeah. The bad soup.
The soup is neither good nor bad. It's just the soup.
The soup of life.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of soup, Dorothy and Bellina head off with an important first mission objective, breakfast, before finding the Scarecrow and Emerald City. As luck would have it, they immediately find a lunch pail tree, the absurdity and fantasy of which immediately had me singing Big Rock Candy Mountain. They pick 2 ripe pails, and as they share a ham sandwich, the rocks around them quietly come alive, carrying messages on the wind back to an ominous, evil rock formation. Dorothy's back in Oz, and she brought a chicken. They continue their journey, searching for Dorothy's friends, and their first landmark appears to be a cabin in the woods. But Dorothy finds that it's her original house, the one that first brought her to Oz, that landed on the Wicked Witch of the East. It is such dream logic to like stumble upon your old house in the middle of the woods.
I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. But their house wasn't destroyed in the cyclone. It was sent to Oz.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Here it is in full.
Where do they think their house went?
It just left. It's just gone.
It just got up and left.
Peace out.
Because like in the book, you know, they kind of accept that Oz is a real place.
Mm-hmm, more so. Mm-hmm.
More or less, because it's a kid's book.
But
in the movie,
it's a question mark. It's a big old question mark.
It's not a real place, quote unquote.
You don't think?
For them, to her aunt and uncle. I'm not saying.
Sure.
From their perspective.
You wouldn't dare.
You're judging me so hard, my God. From their perspective, their house just flew away.
Yeah, just flew away.
All right.
It's not here anymore. I mean, they're looking at the land. The house is gone.
You think
can't
that
be helped.
Just, you know, the debris would be somewhere, but you know, hey.
You would imagine that, but I guess in a tornado, it could be taken miles and miles away. So might not be so far-fetched.
If you've been in a tornado, let us know what happens.
I liked the imagery of this, though, because my brain, I feel like, would be doing the same thing. Like, I'd be craving something familiar in the midst of something so unfamiliar. I would dream a lot about things like that when I was a kid. Like, I remember many, many times I would dream that, like, everywhere that I wanted to go in town was, like, connected by way of tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the church, the school, like, my friends' houses, Disney World. Like, I could just go down a tunnel from wherever I was and be wherever else. Like, teleportation sort of, but more so like I don't have a car and I have no autonomy, and that was like my weird dream way of getting autonomy. But I just remember vividly dreaming that many times, where I can just get where I need to be. My house is right here. I'm somewhere else and I can turn a corner and walk this way and I'm now in my house. Cool.
In many cities, including our own, that's true. There are tunnel systems beneath the entire infrastructure.
Not ones that we can access. Certainly not ones that I could access at like 6 years old, but
you just got to find the right basement.
Gotta know the right groundhog.
It's especially true in Derry.
Or clown, I suppose. I don't know. Oz has kind of the same energy of that to me.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is connected, more so than it should be.
Oh, no. It's just a yellow brick.
No, Bellina, you don't understand. This was the yellow brick road.
Oh.
It leads to the Emerald City.
And Feruza's is breathy. No, Bellina, you don't understand. This was the yellow brick road. It was very Judy Garland.
Mm-hmm.
The way that she embodied that line, it made me wonder if it was one of the earlier scenes that they shot. And most of the Kansas stuff was first, so I don't know. But like, you were channeling your Judy that day.
And like the way she ran down those loose bricks, I'm like,
going for
you're
it.
going to twist your ankle. You need to slow down.
That's us in our 30s.
Yeah, I'd be like,
it.
oh, my knees, ouch, my ankle, my toes. Oh, slow down.
Not as agile as we once were. Or in my case, rarely ever were.
I got the arthritis.
They race down what's left of the pathway, crows cawing overhead, rocks ever-present spies for an entity bigger and more ominous. His bellowing, they won't get past Mombi, would have creeped me the hell out as a kid, regardless of who Mombi is supposed to be, because we don't yet know.
What the hell is a Mombi?
Yeah, what's a Mombi? I don't want to know. But with this whole concept, all I could think about was Labyrinth. There's a young girl dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot, a dreamscape rigged against her by forces that she can't yet see. They crest a hill, which allows them to look down on what's left of the Emerald City, and as they enter a deserted courtyard, Dorothy realizes that all of the citizens have been turned to stone, including the Tin Woodsman and the Cowardly Lion.
So this is where Medusa lives.
Yeah. Scrawled in red on one of the dilapidated walls is a warning. Beware the Wheelers. And I'll second that. Beware the infamous Wheelers. These creatures have been skirting around the edges of the scene, strange, distorted laughter echoing off the stone pillars and corridors. But now, we see one in its full glory.
They're pretty creepy.
I instantly understood why we got so many requests to cover this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it makes total sense. Like, what is this? What is this? Why is this?
Yep.
All those questions. And I don't have very many answers for you. It's just...
That's just L. Frank Baum.
That's L. Frank Baum in an 80s outfit.
Yeah.
The Wheelers are impossibly tall, with extended arms and legs ending not in hands or feet, but with wheels like rollerblades.
But in wheels.
Their faces are hidden under helmets with grotesque, gaudy faces painted on top, giving them a sort of transformer quality.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that their helmets have like faces on them, that adds to the fear factor for sure.
It really does. Uncanny Valley, as most villainous entities in this movie really harness.
Yeah.
And you guessed it. They wheel around the remains of the Emerald City, laughing maniacally and spying for the Gnome King and Princess Mombi.
In the book, they are like lone agents. They don't work for anyone.
Interesting.
They just basically inhabit this part
They
of
just enjoy
the country.
wheeling and dealing misery to those in their path.
Well, you know, there's more to it. It's eventually the explanation is that they're so weak and like indefensible, like they can't defend themselves because their hands and feet are just wheels, you know?
Yeah.
So they're continually taken advantage of by people.
Which, yeah, and I kind of like
so
that. And there's an air of that here, but they're so creepy to like a child.
Yeah, I mean, they're super weak and yeah, in the movie
Yeah,
too.
but then the more you look at them, just like always, the more you look at the monster, the more that you look at them, design flaws all over the place.
Yeah, they're like,
this is not optimal.
But we have to seem scary so people don't mess with us and take all of our stuff. They reveal that they're the ones who wrote Beware the Wheelers.
Nice.
They did it themselves.
I like that.
To seem scary.
I really like that detail.
Yeah, it's fun.
A pack of these Wheelers emerge from around corners and atop balconies, and they surround Dorothy and Bellina, corralling them to a dead end, save a wall with a tiny keyhole. They're laughing and snarling and threatening as Bellina suggests that she use her Oz key, and they make it through the door just in time. The lead Wheeler mocks her through the keyhole.
You have to come out sooner or later. And when you do, we'll tear you into little pieces and throw you in the deadly desert.
Why do they need to throw the pieces of her in the deadly desert?
Yeah, your pieces are going to die. We're going to kill
We're going to kill your pieces.
Kill you to pieces, little girl. That's just part of their like empty threats, you know? It's kind of like they don't know what to do with violence because they can't be violent. They don't have a way to be violent.
Yeah, I like the picture that I'm now getting, the big full Wheeler picture.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Dorothy says that she hasn't done anything to them, and they say, "Isn't that a stolen lunch pail in your hand?" And I suppose it makes sense also that the Wheelers, these weak-minded individuals, are vaguely capitalistic and fully pro-establishment. Flying monkeys on wheels.
Wheeling monkeys.
He's also really upset about Bellina's general existence, which confused me, but we understand later.
Isn't that a chicken in there with you? The Gnome King doesn't allow chickens anywhere in the house.
Like I said, there's a reason. But right now, it feels like the most dream logic moment yet.
Yeah.
Because
you have
why?
a chicken with you.
That's the problem.
Chickens are not allowed. Yeah.
And that I feel like that's happened in many of my dreams also, where it's like, oh, yeah, you have messed up really bad by way of this item that you didn't know you had or can't help or you didn't bring here with you, but it's your fault.
That is dream logic.
Just so happens the one thing, your one companion, is the one thing that's outlawed. Dorothy doesn't know who the Gnome King even is, which sends the Wheelers back down the corridor in fits of laughter, because they know she'll soon find out.
Ooh.
When she turns to face Bellina, she gasps at the clunky, stout bronze robot collecting dust in the corner. According to the plates, he's a patented clockwork mechanical man who does everything but live. A list of instructions guide Dorothy to wind several knobs, separate energy sources for thinking, speaking, and walking / action.
It's everyone's favorite social media app, TikTok.
TikTok. The plate claims that he's guaranteed to work perfectly for 1,000 years.
Oh, you don't believe that, do you?
I don't know. I'll wind him up and we'll see.
And she'll wind him up and see. Which I thought was so cute. Like, they're just weaving in so much, like, curiosity into Dorothy. She's in all of these adverse circumstances, and she's a sponge. She's absorbing everything around her, and she's not, like, old enough yet to be cynical. So she's just like, I don't know. Maybe. Like,
oh, no, that's straight up from the book. Like, Dorothy's just like, let's find out. You have a question, let's answer it. Like, it's, everything's just like that. I love it.
Yeah. They did a really good job of being true to the spirit of that. She's not like defenseless or helpless. She's just interested. She's engaged.
She's in tune with her own curiosity.
She's curious.
In a way that I think most people tend to stifle because they're afraid to appear stupid.
Or they grow beyond it. Like they grow out of it when they get older.
Yeah.
Not us. Not here.
No.
We're hella curious.
But I do love that it's like guaranteed to work perfectly for 1,000 years. And then the running gag is that he's
running down all the time.
His gears are always shutting down.
But they're working as intended.
They could work longer.
They're working as they were engineered to do.
He could have been made to work longer.
I got more to say about TikTok. Because sure enough, TikTok boots up and she's in full-blown conversation with a non-living thing.
AI?
He's part of the Royal Army of Oz, a weapon this guy is meant to be, which was pulled from a later Oz book.
Pleased to meet you. I am TikTok, the Royal Army of Oz. His Majesty the Scarecrow locked me in here and told me to wait for you.
What happened to the Emerald City? And where is the Scarecrow?
Essentially, when shit hit the fan and folks started turning to stone, all of his wind-up actions ran out too. He salutes and swears to be her obedient servant and says he'll think up a plan if she can keep his ThinkWorks wound tight. There's actually a case to be made that TikTok was the first ever robot in literature.
Oh, really?
His appearance in Ozma of Oz in 1907 predated the word robot by 13 years.
That's insane.
He was the first fictional machine character to be treated like a person. Though he's not alive, he thinks. He reasons. And this also means TikTok is one of the earliest fictional characters to raise questions about machine morality. Baum uses TikTok to explore agency, obedience, programmed ethics, the limitations of artificial beings, and whether machines can be good or moral on the whole at all.
Right.
And that is strangely poignant even today, as I've already seen several reels just this afternoon about Google's Nano Banana update. AI is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. And
it's everywhere.
We've been asking these questions for over a century, and I think we're further from an answer than we've ever been.
So yeah, TikTok would have been like a super advanced automaton.
Right.
Because they had automatons, but the concept of a robot hadn't quite.
Yeah, the concept of a modern robot hadn't quite hit, and other characters that are portrayed similarly were usually like biologically humans, but like being controlled by another force or like puppeted.
I see.
It wasn't all machine. And even in this case, it's a pretty modernized version of a machine because he has like separate programs for thinking, and you know, it's very programmatic in a way.
Yeah.
Which isn't how a lot of people were thinking in the early 1900s. I also find it interesting that we are reminded on multiple occasions over and over by TikTok himself that he is a machine, he isn't alive, and he never will be.
I have always valued my lifelessness.
It's like very uncanny valley energy because you're supposed to be endeared to this character, but he's telling you to your face that he's not real.
I'm just bells and whistles. I'm gears. In the book, it's clear that TikTok was the only one of his kind to be invented or like designed. So this whole part of the movie, in the book, they're actually not in Oz. They're in the land of Ev. It's a different place that you hear about, and they go there, you know, a few times.
Like an adjacent kingdom sort of thing?
Yeah, and it's separated from Oz by the Deadly Desert. So
okay.
Oz isn't quite as connected as you may have previously thought with those underground tunnels in your psyche that you were talking about. But yes, this is a separate kingdom, and it's actually pretty dark, the history of this land, because when they meet TikTok, he explains that he belonged to the king of Ev, but this king was so cruel that he, you know, routinely beat his servants to death sometimes. In a fit of rage one day, he sold his wife and 10 children to the gnome king, who then turned them all into ornaments, which we're going to get to later in the movie.
Yeah.
And then when he came to his senses but couldn't get his family back, he locked TikTok up in this chamber, this rock chamber, and then threw the key into the ocean, where he then drowned himself.
Oh.
And in the book, the key washes back up on shore, which is where Dorothy finds it. Very near to the Beware the Wheelers written out in the sand. But So that's the pretty dark history of the kingdom of Ev, the land of Ev.
I'm glad we know now.
And there's more distinctions to be made there because in the movie they go visit Mombi, but that's different in the book as well. The books, plural.
Yeah, it's more like inspired by than truly like adapted to screen.
Right.
The uncanny valley just keeps on coming as Dorothy, Bellina, and TikTok march out of the chamber, and TikTok uses the stolen lunch pail as a weapon of mass wheeler destruction.
They're so dumb. They just keep rolling into it, swinging it around.
You'll be sorry for treating me like this. I'm a terrible person.
What kind of a line is that? Like, I guess it makes sense. I'm a terrible person. You don't want to mess with me.
I'm a terrible old person.
Why do I not believe you? In the words of Batty Coda.
Yeah.
And as they say this, TikTok reminds them that
I am only a machine, so I cannot be sorry or happy, no matter what happens.
At least he's honest.
Yeah. And they just keep hitting us with it. It's so interesting. Like, what are you going for? What do you want us to be feeling right now? The Wheeler does give us some exposition, though. It was the Gnome King that conquered the Emerald City, taking all the emeralds and turning everyone to stone. But there's only one person who knows where the Scarecrow is, and that is Princess Mombi. They do show mercy on the Wheeler, who skates away, cackling all the while and tripping over himself. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, this also differs from the canon of the books because the Emerald City does get conquered and stripped of its jewels in the book The Marvelous Land of Oz, but it's by an army of frustrated housewives armed with knitting needles?
No, girls.
Girls, okay. Just girls.
Yeah, it's an army of girls in General Ginger.
General Ginger.
Yeah, no, they're just tired of, they're not housewives, they're just brought up in a very patriarchal society, and they're not having it. They said that men have ruled Oz for too long.
Hey,
and they're here to change that.
You're making great points.
Yeah, I guess. But it's silly. It's silly how it happens.
Yeah, from what I read, it's like played more for laughs. And like General Ginger wants to like sit on a throne and eat chocolate all day instead of doing housework and being expected to contribute in a feminine way.
It was definitely imperfect. It was just there was such an extreme version of the things that, feminism is fighting against these days. It was so extreme in those days.
And I appreciate anybody that's going to come along and try to flip that script, going to come along and say, hey, look at this from a different angle. I see posts about stuff like that often about like regulating women's bodies versus regulating men's bodies. And when you start to say you're going to regulate male ejaculation, people are like, whoa, you can't do that. And it's like, yes, that's absurd. Same thing is true vice versa. But because of the culture that it's already steeped in and because of the like dated nature of it now, it's hard to parse what is feminism and what is misogyny because even feminism was sort of misogynistic then. They hadn't moved past some stuff.
And it helps too that like Oz is such a ridiculous country. Like the characters are so absurd.
Right.
They don't know what they're doing. They're all silly.
Right.
And
Silly,
around.
theatrical.
Like it's not.
It's hard to make like hard hitting
reality.
Points. Yeah. Because you can't say, yes, here's an intelligent woman who, like it's not that kind of a story.
Right.
It's not that kind of a place.
He was just basically goofing around for thousands of pages.
And we know that Baum wasn't great at skating the lines of satire.
Yeah.
It was a tricky subject for him. Dorothy and gang enter a rather ornate palace and make their way to a throne room of glass and gold. All the surfaces are reflective, adding to the surrealism of the shimmering candlelight.
You know why? You know why it's all reflective? You know why?
Why?
Because she loves to look at herself. She's so
makes
vain.
Sense. She's so vain. She probably thinks this song's about her.
No, but seriously, from the book, like the reason why everything is a mirror or like a reflective surface.
Because she doesn't want to go anywhere and not see herself.
She loves to look at herself.
But she's not really herself anyway. Like, we'll get there. It's a lot.
Like
it's so
there's
much.
multiple layers of how she's not herself.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. Metaphysical, literal,
spiritual,
fictional,
cranial,
chronological.
Excuse me, miss, but are you Princess Mombi?
They approach a rather docile, pretty woman on the throne who's napping and holding a lyre. Her face seems extra soft and delicate, juxtaposed with a complicated gown and a really harsh, pointy golden ruff. Dorothy asks her about the scarecrow, and this princess, or really maybe a sorceress who's declared herself princess, takes her by the hand, tired but firm, guiding them down a hallway lined with glass cases containing disembodied heads.
Heads.
The heads seem to watch as they pass.
Just head down the hallway.
They head right on down the hallway.
Head right on this way.
Look ahead.
I'm gonna head out.
Mombi opens an empty case and places her head inside and then replaces it with another older model.
If I had a nickel.
It's pretty dark, but there's no like blood or gore to be found in this. It's just purely fairy tale terror.
Pretty much like many nightmares I've had where I've
displaced your head,
looked in the mirror and aged 50 years, you know. She didn't age 50 years. She aged like 20, but you know.
Mombi asks, "What do you think?" And Dorothy's nothing if not quick on her feet, saying, "I think you're very beautiful." If you ask me, that's what I think.
You're so pretty. Ooh.
So pretty.
I mean, wow.
Mombi tells her that the Gnome King took the scarecrow and all of the emeralds back to his mountain and turned everyone else to stone. But she's also not shy about her own villainous intentions.
Yeah.
You will be rather attractive one day. Not at all beautiful, you understand, but you'll have a certain prettiness.
Yeah.
The whole time I was thinking but she's also pretty. Like all of her heads are...
They're all pretty.
Conventionally pretty. Like, I assume it's like more of an age thing. Like, but I just didn't, I'm like, what's the deal? Why do you need to change heads?
I don't know.
And then it hit me also that she is not only changing heads, but potentially also harvesting heads.
Yeah, I mean, she must be. Obviously, she got all the other ones from somewhere.
We learn where.
From someone.
Later. But in this moment, it sure seems to me and to Dorothy like this woman wants to take something that belongs to me.
In the book, she offers to give Dorothy another head in exchange.
Right. That is the difference.
So that protects the readers, whereas the other people who lost their heads weren't so lucky. They just got...
This version of Mombi glowers menacing with two wide eyes, telling Dorothy she thinks she'll lock her in the tower for a few years until her head is ready. The whole scene is really well directed.
It is.
All the subtleties of the acting, I mean, they did a great job. I had no notes.
You say this version of Mombi.
Right, because the character we see is actually a combination of two of Baum's Ozians, a cruel, deceptive witch named Mombi from the marvelous land of Oz who transforms her enemies, and Princess Langwidere from Ozma of Oz, who is beautiful but vain, switching between 30 different heads with fragments of different personalities.
Mombi was forbidden to use magic by Glinda.
Which also plays in later.
Yeah, Glinda's the only witch in the kingdom who's allowed to use magic. So Mombi, also a witch, is not allowed to, legally, although she does here and there dabble, because who doesn't? You know what I mean?
Who doesn't?
So yes, her gifts tend to be more like transformation and such. Whereas Princess Langwidere steals your head, takes it from your body, and says, it's now mine.
Right.
And also, she's the niece of the king of Ev, who died and the whole family's gone. So she's just there in his stead, ruling over Ev, even though she's not a ruler. Taking heads. But she's so vain and she's so wrapped up in beauty.
You're so vain.
And all this like superficialness of living that she basically says, I don't want to rule Ev.
Right.
I don't want this position.
I just want to be pretty.
I just want to be pretty and look at myself in my hall of mirrors.
Right.
That's all I want.
Right.
So she's much more willing in the book to cooperate and help them get to the Gnome King than she is in the movie.
It's said that this was Baum's attempt at satirizing the beauty craze of the 1890s and like the rise in all these beauty products and different ways to make women changeable.
Sure.
Which, okay, it's like misguided feminism. It's like almost there and kind of, but it's like it's feminism with so much internalized misogyny that you can't separate the two. But this has like this theatrical, vain characterization of a woman, which makes it feel like misogyny on the surface, regardless of the point that he's trying to make. And it's still like, you don't want to be like this woman, do you? Who's so vain? You don't need all these beauty products. Just let be a natural beauty. It's like, if anybody said that now, I'm immediately icked out.
It's tough to say. He was attempting to empower young women. He was attempting to do that.
Right. That was the attempt,
And
yes.
that was his goal. He meant well, misguided, sure. You know, like you were saying, feminism back then was poisoned by internalized misogyny. There's nothing they could do about it.
Right.
But for him to just kind of say like, be more like Dorothy, who just doesn't really care. She's more concerned with like
her inner
the
world
greater
than
good.
her appearance. And
it's not even like moral. She's just worried about other people and making sure they're okay.
Right. Which is kind of sort of like take up a classical female role and look outside and care about everybody but yourself.
Maybe. Yeah.
There's a lot there. I had so many like competing thoughts as I was watching this movie over and over.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's tricky business.
Could you put some of the rest of me together again? If you can just tie that arm on, and then my other leg is falling off too.
I think it's also worth noting that Baum frequently played with characters whose bodies detach or come apart. We see more examples throughout this film, like Jack Pumpkinhead, the Scarecrow, the Tin Woodsman, the Gump, the Patchwork Girl.
The Gump, dude.
It seems like it's a bit of a fascination of his, like a motif about identity through parts, which you can see playing out throughout his life. We talked about, you know, his life and times in part 1.
The man loved a mannequin.
And how he's always playing different roles, and he loved a mannequin, and he's consumed with this idea of like putting pieces together to create a greater whole. Yeah. And maybe, you know, also like all of the heads, all the roles that he himself tried on.
Yeah.
You could also take it in a direction of like the instability of the self. And that starts to devolve into things like narcissism, which we're going to talk about shortly.
See, it's not feminism. It was just his own projection of self. It was just his own exploration of his own, you know, troubled psyche.
Another side of Mr. Baum.
So he was expressing his inner turmoil.
I mean, I do think that he had a very interesting view of identity and what identity is and means.
I think so.
Belina and TikTok now spring into action, and Dorothy even fights back physically, but TikTok's action is run down from his fight with the Wheelers, and it's no use. She says, "It can't be helped, TikTok," as she and Belina are led up a hidden staircase.
Somebody please remember to wind this guy up.
Yeah, just wind him up. Gosh darn it.
Wind him up.
Even when you don't think he needs it, just give him a little twist. If you're just standing next to him, a little twist. Top him off, you know?
Yeah, I mean, just like before you leave the house, just like plug up your phone for 20 minutes, you know? Give it a little juice.
Little juice.
A little twist.
Mommy leaves Dorothy in the tower room, which greatly resembles an attic. It's cluttered with paintings and furniture, and she's greeted by a polite, if melancholic, pumpkin-headed man named Jack, who asks straight away if she's his mom.
Yeah.
And asks her to check his head for signs of spoiling. Belina levels things out with some one-liners, but this is about when I started to go, what is happening here? What's happening? More even than the story, I feel like the visuals are so disjointed and dreamlike. The thing I kept thinking as I was watching is like, it's almost like the setting and the background and the characters all together, they're all toys from like different play sets.
Yeah.
And different manufacturers. Like they don't go together. Like you got the Jack Pumpkinhead from this other show, this other thing over here, and he's playing with this guy from this Barbie doll. You know, like it's like
Toy Story.
Right. It's like Toy Story. I thought of that too. Like they're all misfit, mismatched, and none of them quite fit together. And it's so
and there's this wind up toy in the back.
Right. Mr. Potato Head, you know, the pieces and parts. Like I don't know. I thought about Toy Story a lot, but it more so just like the idea that these characters are not visually homogenous. They don't work together, but that's part of the charm of it, honestly.
I've been alive such a short while, and I'm afraid of spoiling before I've seen anything of the world.
And that existential dread is so relatable and also pretty dark.
Yeah, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, there it is.
There it is.
I get it now. But that is Jack Pumpkinhead in the book. Mm-hmm. He is constantly worried about when he's going to die.
Yeah, when am I going to
spoil?
God, this movie would have just me all the way up as a child.
Yeah.
It has so many elements of the things that already bothered me just displayed on screen and like repetitively.
Yeah, he's always like, I only have a few days to live, so I want to see the world. I want to experience.
But he's
things.
so like resigned about it. He's so like chill. He's not like necessarily anxious in it.
It's because there's nothing in his head but pumpkin seeds.
That's all I got.
Like that's the explanation. He doesn't have anything in his noggin, so he's just he can't learn. He's not very smart.
I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna be here while I'm here.
He's resigned to his fate.
He asks Dorothy to tie his arms and legs back on, explaining that his mom built him in an effort to scare Mombi and put him somewhere that they would come face to face. And it did scare her, which only made her angry. and she had been about to destroy him when she decided instead to test out the powder of life that she had just bought from a magician, hence Jack in his current form.
Yeah.
Characters like this are always so sad to me. It's like someone that was never really meant for this world, but they're here anyway.
Yeah, I was brought to life and now I'm just left here.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, like,
missing an arm and a leg.
I wasn't meant to be here, but I'm here anyway. I don't know what to do about it. And it's just this weird, sad dead end.
Isn't that really kind of all of us, though?
Yeah, it is. That is all of us.
I didn't ask to be born.
None of us did. You're right. And I do feel that way on occasion. And maybe that's why these kind of characters hit me so hard. Because, yeah, we're all just like, guess I'm here. What should I do about that?
Jack, Belina, listen. Here's what we have to do.
Dorothy wants to find this powder of life, and Jack says if there is any more, it'll be in Cabinet 31 with her original head. She imprisoned him when she was wearing head number 22 and hasn't worn it since, so she hasn't remembered his existence.
Is that because there's 31 days in October and Halloween's on the 31st?
Halloween.
Dorothy, may I call you Mom, even if it isn't so?
And it just broke my heart. It shattered my heart.
Yeah.
You're seeking belonging. You're seeking connection. You're seeking like your life force. You're seeking something. And oh my God.
Yeah, he feels almost like a pet.
Right.
Like if a pet could talk, they would say something like that.
Can I call you Mom?
Oh, Casper. It's like Casper, essentially.
Yeah.
Can I keep you?
And this comes directly from the books where Jack is assembled by a child named Tip, whom he calls father.
Right, yes. So Tip is a boy, and Tip is the slave of Mombi. She's had him since he was a wee child for reasons that will become clear. And yes, he did build a scarecrow with a pumpkin head to frighten Mombi on her way home from her travels. She was not scared, but she did just acquire the powder of life from an underground king, a vaguely described underground king, which I think means the Gnome King.
The Gnome King.
Baum just didn't know who the underground king was. So he gifted her this powder of life, and she just decides, I'm going to bring this guy to life, which she does. But she is mad at Tip for attempting to frighten her.
Yeah.
There's a secret about Tip that not even Tip knows.
Are you going to tell us? Can we know yet? Does it play in later?
Do you want to know now?
Wait till we're there. I don't even know what the secret is. I'm excited. This idea that Jack would call Dorothy Mom, although it is from the books directly, feels especially sad and poignant in the psychological context that Murch has kind of painted onto all of this. Yeah. Because if you couple it with Dorothy's emotional neglect and fear and lack of adult protection or understanding in Kansas, this could be seen as Dorothy's own internal attempt to invert that dynamic and like reclaim autonomy and power. Because instead of being like a powerless child, Dorothy suddenly becomes the protector and the comforter, like the one that she needs herself.
Right.
In fact, that's what this whole entire fantasy or magical trip to a magical land seems to be about. They break out and retrieve TikTok, who goes back upstairs with Jack to be filled in on the plan, which is apparently just to build some sort of sleigh abomination that will fly them to safety. This is one of the most motley crews I've ever seen, truly. Dorothy alone sneaks into Mombi's bedchamber, stealing the key from her sleeping wrist and passing all 29 other sleeping heads till she finds Cabinet 31. Inside is Mombi's true form, suspiciously resembling none other than Nurse Wilson. Dorothy reaches for the powder of life, but accidentally wakes the head, which monstrously shouts her name, rousing the body from bed, and it walks toward them like a zombie.
This is the scariest shit.
It's the scariest shit. The effects on her voice add to this disconnected, like wrong, uncanny nature of the character. But let's be real. Why, when you have 31 heads available to you, would you sleep without a head?
How do you sleep?
It can't be comfortable.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Why do you need to go in the morning and put your head on? Like, I understand like needing to like put in your contacts or whatever, but like...
That's all from the movie, so I have no idea. I have no source
material.
This
is all just an invention, and it's creepy. It's to be creepy. I think that's the answer, is because it's scarier this way.
It's just the shock value of her sitting up in bed with no head. You know?
Exactly.
That's always scary.
So yeah, I think it's just for the visual gag of it, but like so impractical when you have 31 heads to sleep with 0 heads.
Yeah, I don't know.
On your.
I mean, they're perfect. So why would you lay them down on like a pillow and the hair all messy and like all this stuff? She probably just doesn't want to mess one up.
Keeping them in mint condition.
Sure.
This scene is cited as being one of the most terrifying in children's cinema, and it was totally weird and off-putting. I will agree, watching it at 33 years old. But like you said, the thing that I wondered when I watched the scene was this Frank Baum's doing? Like, did Frank Baum invent this? Like Mombi in Return to Oz, the canon Langwidere wanted Dorothy's head for herself and imprisoned her when she refused. But like you said, the difference was she offered to trade Dorothy another head, so there wasn't an implication that losing her head would kill Dorothy.
Right.
Langwidere was spoiled and selfish, but she wasn't the villain that Mombi is in the movie. According to Baum, the head she happened to be wearing when she met Dorothy had a temper that was fiery and harsh and haughty in the extreme, and it often led the princess to do unpleasant things, which she regretted when she came to wear her other heads.
Mm-hmm. I forgot that she did lock her up for a time.
Mm-hmm. But then when Dorothy's comrades show up and demand her release in Ozma of Oz, Langwidere readily gives it, which is very unlike what happens in the film.
Yeah, she basically goes, "Oh, I forgot she was there. I was wearing a different head."
Right, which is, they played on that with Jack. On her way back upstairs, Dorothy sees an enchanting reflection of a younger blonde princess resembling her friend from back at the asylum.
Who is it?
But she rejoins the party and sprinkles their contraption, again, a sleigh, essentially made from couches and antiques with the head of an elk, like one of those, mounted heads of a game.
Yeah.
Reindeer-like, I don't know, it's one of the two. She sprinkles this with the powder of life, which in conjunction with the magic words from the bottle sends them flying on wings of palm, because there was like a palm tree.
It's a fictional animal in the land of Oz called a gump.
Okay, right, a gump. Sure.
Yeah, the great-great-great-great-grandfather of Forrest Gump.
The last thing I remember is walking through the forest and hearing a loud noise.
Yeah, this is one of those times in the marvelous land of Oz when they're back in Oz. General Ginger's army of girls comes back to the castle to retake it over. They have to quickly assemble it, sprinkle it with the powder of life, and fly off to safety.
And they do. Mombi chases them until they take flight, and then sends the Wheelers after them, flying monkey style, just like, Wizard of Oz, but skating monkeys more so.
It's kind of reversed. The roles there.
A little bit.
Dorothy and gang are flying this time.
What am I anyway?
You're just, a thing with a gump's head on it.
I may not last very long. I don't feel too well put together.
This Gump creature is bewildered to be alive at all and is rather nervous to be entrusted with flight.
This bothered me.
Bellina just wants to fly back to Kansas.
This body horror right here just totally messed with my head. It freaked me out to think about him being just pieced together by rope.
I hated it.
He's not even.
I hated it.
And he's just I'm going to fall apart any second.
Ew.
It's what the hell is happening?
Yeah, they're all falling apart. So many of them.
I'm not made to turn around.
Baum was like, I don't just want to decapitate. I want to
disembody.
Disembody you entirely. I want to detangle you from everything that makes you a body and piece you back together with the parts that I deem acceptable. I don't know, it's weird.
Can he feel the rest of his body?
I know. I was thinking stuff like that the whole time.
How does he fly?
Positively haunting. As they settle in for travel, presumably to the Gnome King's mountain, Dorothy is extra sleepy and says she's just glad to have her own head to be sleepy with. And it really puts things in perspective, especially if you're me and you have a fever and it's 2 a.m. and you're very, very sick, and you too would just like your own head back because you can't hear anything and you're briefly concerned that the virus that you have is attacking your eardrums or some shit. Sometimes you just want your own head back, Maybe
we should start referring to colds as I got the old Princess Langwidere again.
I got the mombies. The case of the mombies.
The mombies.
Yuck. I don't like it. Wish I hadn't said it. Back in the castle, Mombi watches the trapped reflection of the blonde girl, who she calls Ozma, villainously monologuing that no one will help her because no one knows where she is. And then she says something else that hits me right where it hurts.
There's nobody left who even knows who you are.
That's some existential terror right there.
The Wheelers race along beneath the Gump until they dead end into the deadly desert, and one of their own bites the dust.
You know what that makes me think of? When you were a kid and you had a yo-yo and your friend convinced you that it was cool to let the yo-yo go in the sand on the playground.
Okay.
Never happened to you?
Nope.
No, just me.
But hey, you're talking to more than just me. So somebody out there is going, yeah, Christian. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets all gritty and grainy and gross in your yo-yo because it just kicks up all the sand and it gets stuck in there and it's all shitty. And then it actually picks up your yo-yo and it doesn't work anymore.
Oh. I women like to get things dirty, so.
Yeah, I was convinced to do that on the playground for the brief time we were allowed to bring yo-yos to school before people started getting
that did
hurt.
not last long. It was that and the silly putty. You can't have that. Cat's cradle we did for a while, but then yarn got banned at my school because we were cat's cradling in the breezeway.
Well, we were all cats cradling, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just his wheels going in the sand just kind of makes me think of the yo-yo.
The wheels in the sand don't go round and round. That's what you're saying.
They go crunch, crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch.
Kind of like that.
Nice. Dorothy dozes and wakes with a start as some of the ropes holding the furniture together snap. Like these are like his muscles, his tendons.
Yeah, his ligaments.
His tendons. Ugh.
Sucks.
Beyond just that, I would be so motion sick to be a part of this. Like they say it at one point because they're all just swirling and twirling through the air.
If I had a stomach, I know I'd be sick.
Jack tries to hold the other side steady, and then he instead loses his head. So he's falling apart too. And then when they try to save him, the Gump is all destabilized and gross and falls apart entirely.
Sorry, Mom.
It's all right, Jack. It can't be helped now.
It's okay. We're all just gonna die.
She's way too casual.
It's fine.
Way too casual.
Can't be helped that we're gonna die. It's okay. Who cares?
Ah, well.
Miraculously, they do not die, but all instead land in the snow unscathed. Dorothy plops onto the upright couch that fell beneath her, the Gump's rib cage.
Ugh.
Inside the mountain caverns, the Gnome King converses with the rock face, his subjects in different varying sizes and age of rock, demanding to know what all that noise is. And I'm sorry, but with the way everybody has omnisciently known everything the whole time, I find it really hard to believe that there weren't eyes on Dorothy immediately.
Yeah, all of a sudden they just don't know what's happening.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're questioning, what is that sound? Well, what do you think? I mean, take a guess, The girl that you've been obsessing over for the past day, probably.
The girl with the chicken.
As they work to right themselves, the Gump decides he's much happier being a sentient head than assembled into the pieces of furniture that make up his body, which checks out.
I agree.
We're saying the whole time, yeah, that's better.
I
Don't
agree.
touch it. Don't even, ideally, he's not even a sentient head. You know what? Ideally, he did not gain sentience similar to Jack. These things are not meant to be alive, but it does seem slightly more comfortable to just be a floating head than a whole bunch of stuff tied together poorly.
Much less baggage,
Yeah.
Just mount me on the wall.
If this is torture, chain me to the wall. Not only do we get these weird expressions of existence, but then they try to force it. And they're like, well, every head must have a body if it expects to get around. And he's like, I didn't expect that.
He's like, no.
I never expected that. You're placing that expectation upon me. That's not mine.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone, guys.
Doesn't seem like there's much of anywhere to get around to.
Now we're all stranded on this weird mountain, so I think we're all kind of...
The Gnome King and his lackeys discuss Dorothy's prowess as she escaped Mombi and crossed the deadly desert, so he needs to investigate this Dorothy for himself. Appearing as a giant face in the cliffside, the Gnome King demands she state her business. Very similar vibe to Dorothy meeting the wizard.
Yeah, sure, a giant face.
Mm-hmm. She asks politely that he release the Scarecrow and restore the Emerald City. You believe that I've stolen something, and you want me to give it back? She says, yes, Your Majesty. And he says, so if someone steals something, you think the right thing is for them to give it back? And she says, yes, Your Majesty. And then he says, well, what if they don't want to? And then she says, then we're here with our army to conquer you and force you to give it back.
Very matter of fact.
She's like, I am Moana of Motunui. You will board my boat, sail across the sea, and restore the heart of Te Fiti. I did not think we'd be making 2 Moana references today, but here we are.
No, I definitely never saw that coming.
The Gnome King is amused, laughing himself into an avalanche that swallows Dorothy whole. And she falls, or really more like floats, down a rabbit hole or a Wonka tunnel, gemstones lining the walls. And she falls in slow motion, very Alice in Wonderland, while the Gnome King's voice booms around her.
All the precious stones in the world are made here.
All the precious stones in the world are made here in my underground dominions. All made for me by my gnomes. So imagine how we feel when someone from the world above digs down and steals my treasures. All those emeralds in the Emerald City really belong to me. I was just taking back what was mine to begin with. And Dorothy says, you have so much. And he says, that is not the point. I am not the thief. Your friend is the thief.
Lot of commentary here.
So much commentary of so many kinds. I really wanted to take this sociological. I wanted to go societal with it and be like, okay, taking what was mine, like this is mine, I'm hoarding it, it's mine, I have it. Well, you have so much. Do you need it?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing with it?
Right.
Are you just going to look at it?
We've discussed those 80s villains, man. Just hoarding that wealth.
Yeah, hoarding the wealth. And that led us to exactly where we are today. Economically, sociologically, politically. She lands on the Scarecrow, who the Gnome King then disappears, saying he's transformed him into an ornament for his palace. And to that I say, isn't a scarecrow already an ornament?
Yeah, but like not a living scarecrow.
Not a living scarecrow. And yeah, he turns him into something else, but still.
Don't living scarecrows deserve agency just the same as anybody else who's
And pumpkin heads.
Sure, but not TikTok, because he's not alive.
The king says he's been planning to do this for some time, and her arrival reminded him to do it, to turn the scarecrow. And I hate that shit. I hate him making it Dorothy's fault.
Yeah. No,
that is one of the worst abusive tactics, or in general, projecting that and saying, well, it's your fault, because we talk about this on the show all the time. For me as a kid and now, that's my ultimate thing is if I could do something to have affected change or to do something that I didn't do or I made a mistake, it is so much harder for me to accept than anything else. And he's putting all of that pressure onto Dorothy.
It's just not her fault. She didn't do anything.
It's not.
She's just trying to help.
She also tries to explain that the Scarecrow never stole anything and the emeralds were there when he came. And for the first time, this whole film, we see cracks in Dorothy's resolve. We see actual tears from Dorothy because there is so much injustice in this moment. And I appreciate that is what finally broke her.
Yeah, the unfairness.
She's they were there when he came. It's just unfair. He did not take anything from you. He doesn't deserve to be treated like this.
It wasn't the Scarecrow.
And this gets to me too, Dorothy. This kind of injustice sends me to tears frequently.
He wasn't the original King of Oz. Neither was the Wizard of Oz. It was somebody else.
We're all just borrowers.
Aren't we, though?
The Gnome King evolves a geomorphic hand, providing faux comfort and echoing words we've heard recently from another male authority figure.
I know just the thing to cheer you up.
Familiar.
Her friends tumble down toward her, and he says that they can play a little game to get the Scarecrow back.
You'd risk something for that. Wouldn't you?
Tired, ragged, and unsuccessful, the Wheelers return to Princess Mombi empty-handed, while the Gnome King relays the rules to his game. They must touch objects in the cavern and guess which one is the Scarecrow, and if they say Oz at the same time they touch the correct object, he will be returned. But TikTok's logic program chooses now to question the motive.
The king mentioned a risk. What is it that we are risking?
I'd like all of us to take a moment, pause, and think about that statement. The king mentions risk all the time. What are we risking?
Side effects may include vomiting, diarrhea, even death.
And political unrest.
Side effects may include revolution.
A flash of lightning, a moment of darkness, and the Gump has now disappeared. Lightning, like we see over and over again in the asylum, those flashes of change. The Gump failed to guess correctly, so he's now part of the Gnome King's collection too.
And why would the Gump guess correctly?
Why would the Gump guess correctly? Why would the Gump guess? Why is the Gump there? Why does the Gump exist? Why did we force this Gump to be here today?
I didn't ask for any of this.
That's not fair.
You said you were willing to take a risk. It sounds fair to me. And what I think is all that matters.
But you didn't tell us about it.
Well, you didn't ask.
You're watching me have to hold my tongue because there's some religious metaphors in here too.
Yeah.
Perhaps you'd like to visit my fiery furnace because you got the rules wrong to the game whose rules I didn't properly explain to you.
Yes, definitely.
Because what I think is all that matters.
Yeah,
We've broken down the psychology and pathology of kids' movie villains before. Steel in Balto comes to mind. And between that and a lifetime of examples, I feel like I'm getting pretty damn good at identifying narcissistic behaviors of all kinds. The Gnome King is a psychologically rich villain, as villains go, and a glaring example of a malignant narcissist. His instability and fragility are extra ironic since he's made of stone for much of the film, but they give him a sadistic theatrical edge. It's not the slow, cold, steady hand of psychopathy. He's too emotionally volatile. And the way it's all taken personally and tied into his identity plays at the themes that Baum has been chasing all along from the darkest possible angle.
I mean, he's pretty similar to the Gnome King in the book. He does this exact same thing. He plays this game with them, like all the while knowing it's going to be impossible for them to win this game.
Twisted. So twisted. One of the most frustrating and stomach-turning aspects of this to me are his gaslighting and his projection and his true manipulation, because he's projecting his own feelings of shame and powerlessness onto everybody around him, onto Dorothy, onto Ozma, the Scarecrow, and really all of Emerald City. Mm-hmm. But he pretends to be kind, offering tea and conversation and speaking gently and acting wounded whenever Dorothy resists him. And that last one lights my nervous system up like a Christmas tree. That wounding, that false wounding of like, you've hurt me now. What do you mean? And the false benevolence and this like victim complex. It's disarming and infantilizing, and it's designed to confuse and leave Dorothy as vulnerable to his active attacks as possible. Right. Because she's letting her guard down because she feels guilty or she feels the shame that he wants her to feel. And that triggered is an understatement.
Yeah, she doesn't know how to respond.
Yeah. And then when he shifts into anger, it feels like a switch flipping because he's been this victim, and that's a classic abuser tactic.
And then she's disarmed and unable to adjust.
Although we haven't quite gotten there yet, I would also postulate that his physical transformations are a literalization of his collapsing psyche. He looks most human when he's most in control, and his stone form is like emotionally closed off and flippant and hardened, and then that's like his true core self. Yeah. And his monster form, which we see soon, not yet, is just a complete loss of emotional regulation, like narcissistic rage, full blast. Mm-hmm. He has been offended, and that's the most important thing. That's the only important thing. And that should be the only important thing to anyone in his vicinity. Yeah. Because he believes himself to be so, so important. Though Dorothy gets to know the Gnome King a little better than she knows Dr. Worley, the Gnome King still echoes her fear and her recent trauma stemming from this kind of like unpredictability from an authority figure. They're charming on the surface, but very frightening underneath in a visceral way that kids and those of us who are grown can often feel and can't always name. Mm-hmm. And I did want to know, like, is this how the Gnome King is portrayed in the books?
No, not really. He's much more calm and collected. And he has this scheme, he has this plan. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing to manipulate and confuse and then like control them. It's much more advanced too, because it's not just like the Scarecrow and then these few people. It's the entire family of the King of Ev. Mm-hmm. All 10 children and the Queen of Ev have been turned into ornaments. And then Dorothy shows up with Ozma and like Dorothy's gang, and then there's Ozma's gang, and like the Tin Man is there, and everybody's there. It's like a whole nother large group of people that one by one they then go in
and have to guess about.
And they're all turned into ornaments.
Whoa.
And so it's a very long drawn out thing, but it's not this like psychological like breakdown of this character. Like it's not to that degree.
He's not so narcissistic.
Yeah, no.
He's not trying to play with her emotions so much.
No, it's definitely not that at all.
Interesting.
No.
And I mean, yeah, for a film, it hits.
It goes hard.
It goes really hard.
But, they're playing with psychology as a construct. So, of course, they're going to throw as much as they can at it.
They did a great job.
So they were turning it up to 11 on that front.
The rocks transform around them, and a wall of hands appears. It's very labyrinth-coded, beckoning the victims of his game. And then the furnace boils up from the depths of the darkness, and he tells Jack to take the next turn.
Being an ornament will probably be hardest on you, Dorothy, since you're used to eating and sleeping and other such activities. Since I never eat or sleep, I won't miss them.
He has such like a slow way of talking. Like you were saying, like there's only pumpkin seeds, not a whole lot there. And it's spooky. It's so spooky.
Yeah, he just calls it like he sees it, and that's it.
I do not hold out much hope for Jack. He has many excellent qualities, but thinking is not one of them.
Maybe I'll be lucky.
Ever hopeful, Dorothy. And yeah, sometimes when people don't have their thinking action all the way wound up, sometimes they do get lucky.
Sometimes.
But here's also that emotional distance that we were talking about in part 1 that kind of bleeds into Frank Baum's narrative. There's peril. Like this is their lives are hanging in the balance. And though the words they're saying are directly related to the peril that they're experiencing, it's not laughter. You know, they're not played for a joke.
Yeah.
They still find a way of falling far enough from the tree that the peril feels like it's at arm's length.
Yeah, there's a lot of dark humor, but it's not funny. It's just sort of like matter of fact.
Right.
Like you wouldn't even get it as a kid.
And that's all it's doing is putting a buffer. It's putting a buffer in between what's happening and the characters it's happening to and the audience.
Next, the Army of Oz.
Do not worry, Dorothy. I am going to guess correctly.
TikTok prepares for his guess, and Dorothy says it's too bad they didn't make him so that he could wind himself up, because half the trouble he gets into comes from winding down. And yeah, even though there's like this emotional distance, there are also these like weird, tiny moments of poignance, because I too feel like I could benefit from more ability to wind myself up, and I am striving for that all the time. But even, and maybe especially those of us who are living, also require winding from a friend or partner every now and then.
Yeah, or maybe we shouldn't give machines the ability to like control themselves and like govern themselves and give them that much autonomy.
More the analogy, but by now, Mombi has gone full Madame Medusa from The Rescuers, and she's racing toward the mountain on a chariot pulled by wheelers with her hair flying, and all of the above somehow look more menacing than they've ever looked. TikTok boldly accepts his fate as the Gnome King morphs into a slightly more human form, smoking a pipe and revealing something to Dorothy. He's wearing her ruby slippers.
It was very unexpected.
Yeah, what a reveal.
Yeah.
TikTok's action runs down mid-guess, and I'm sure none of you are surprised, so the Gnome King suggests that Dorothy go in and wind it up, and then take her turn next. As she's about to step into the darkness, he makes her another deal.
You don't have to go down there. I can use the ruby slippers and send you home. And when you get back, you will never think of Oz again.
Dorothy says, but what about my friends? And he says, forget about your friends. You can't help them now. There's no place like home.
He had to say it.
I didn't find any specific information on it, but if I had to guess, making that line dark and villainous was probably one of the very first script or storyboard notes that were made when they were conceptualizing this movie.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they were like, we have to use the line, but how?
It wasn't even a line of Baum's, was it? This was an MGM convention.
No, she does not say that in the book.
Yeah, this was only from the 1930s movie.
It's similar to that, but it's not that. I forget exactly what it is.
When Dorothy goes through this portal of hands, she emerges into Mombi's palace and a great room full of furniture and curios and knickknacks. She finds TikTok, who was faking it to get Dorothy to join him in the game, which is smart. He sheds an oil tear, further blurring that mechanical line, and tells her that he has one more guess, and he wants her to watch and see what he's transformed into, in case that gives her a clue about the rest of their friends. Which is a good plan, but no such luck.
Yeah.
But now Mombi is approaching the king's throne. She's bowing face down and angrily proclaiming Dorothy's return. She's stolen the ruby key and the powder of life and valuable antiques, which she made into a flying sofa, and she's headed this way. And yeah, okay, there's like a king-princess paradigm. We don't know exactly how these characters play into or with each other, but it feels weird, like reductive of the female character yet again, because she's coming in there and essentially like tattling and like pouting, like she stole my lipstick.
Yeah.
And I'm mad about it. Like it just doesn't feel empowered. It doesn't feel like there's any kind of feminine power to it. There's the energy is I'm telling daddy on you.
Yeah, I mean.
And I didn't care for it.
He makes her like bow down, face down on the ground.
Face down on the ground, bowing down. And then when she says all that stuff, she is dismissively met with silence because he's basically blinking at her like, and she's like, oh, you already know. I didn't like it. I didn't like any of the vibes of this.
You know, face down in the dirt, she says.
This doesn't hurt. She said she's finally had enough. Man, never thought I'd get to quote RJA.
If only she said that.
But yeah, the Gnome King just blinks at her.
It's so dismissive. I hate that.
So dismissive. But he already knows everything, of course. She's already here, but not for much longer. And Mombi asks why he didn't just transform them all right away. And he says, it's more fun this way. He just wants to play with his food. He wants to eat them, by the way. What the
Yeah, that turns out that's his goal.
Turns out that's
his
whole plan. All along.
Doesn't make any sense.
Mombi's worried that she'll guess correctly and find out about Ozma, and the Gnome King rages at the very mention, hoping Mombi hasn't let Ozma escape also.
Soon, there'll be no one left who remembers Oz and I will be completely human.
Dorothy has other plans, carefully selecting her guess. A large, obvious emerald resting atop a marble counter.
Dorothy!
And it turns out it's the Scarecrow. They realize that they should be looking for green ornaments in this haphazard hide-and-seek, so they hurry to find more of their friends, transforming the Gump and then Jack from a green vase. The Gnome King, true to form, blames Mombi for his own misstep with Dorothy, claiming if she hadn't let the girl escape, this never would have happened. And then he imprisons Mombi. And in a massive, fiery earthquake, he demolishes the walls of the palace and appears to them in his final form as a giant, angry, geotic mess.
We haven't finished guessing yet. You promised that if we guessed correctly...
I'm tired of games. I'm tired of all of you.
This dude. He really crashes out.
Yeah. Now that his puzzle has been solved, he is tired of games, suddenly. Tired of all of them, and he's taking his ball and he's going home. He decides inexplicably to eat the Gump whole. We know this is furniture. It's made of furniture. He's a rock. I mean, okay.
The earth eats everything.
But the rest of them take off running. And then he summons his gnomes from the walls, which melt and distort around them, arms reaching from every direction. He picks Jack up next and dangles him over his mouth. All in show, the way any giant does, I guess. But we've all forgotten, and perhaps what I failed to even tell all of you listening, is that Bellina has been hiding in Jack's pumpkin head all along due to the Gnome King's specific aversion to chickens.
Bellina, bringing it home.
We now learn the source of this disproportionate rage, because Bellina, in her terror, finally manages to lay her egg. And wouldn't you know, the Gnome King and his minions are deathly allergic.
It's crazy. It's the craziest thing.
So crazy.
They flipped it from the book because in the book he makes it a point to have Bellina lay her morning egg every single day. They even have to stop a procession at one point because she has to lay her egg. It's very clear that eggs are poison.
Okay, in the books, yes. Poison to the gnomes, the gnome race.
Yeah, the gnomes, yes.
For anyone else who watched this film without reading the second and third Oz books, you were probably also like, what the
Yeah, I was confused watching the movie because I hadn't read the books again. It's been many years, but I was like, what?
But yeah, it was totally a device used by Baum in the books and widely known in Oz that eggs are poisonous to gnomes. Gnomes as a species are greedy, possessive beings who hoard the treasures of the earth. Eggs containing new life represent a magic that's antithetical to their nature. Something created from nothing, a power that can't really be stripped or hoarded. It's more the potential than the thing itself. But it's one more dream logic miracle in the deepest inception fever dream.
It's just so trippy. It's so weird.
The Gnome King and the palace crumble around them, having his allergic reaction. But Dorothy remembers the ruby slippers and plucks them from the pile of rubble where the Gnome King once stood. She rejoins the party and recites an all-encompassing wish. I wish for all of us from Oz to return there safely, and for the Emerald City and all the people in it to be restored to life. If I'm honest, this very carefully crafted, foolproof wish designed to circumvent weird tricks, like fairy tale tricks, or loopholes, reminded me a lot of my childhood prayers.
Oh, definitely.
I always wanted to cover every base, every weird, unexpected twist that could possibly occur. I wanted to have already thought of it and prayed against it or about it.
To protect me and my family.
My family and my friends and my friends'
and everybody
families.
Who's not my friend, but people I know and everybody I don't know in the whole world.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly
just continued and I was just like, you get it. You get it.
It's so many layers of that. And that kind of thinking, and also like a shit ton of exposure to like be careful what you wish for, like fiction and fairy tale and all that stuff. But Dorothy, for her part, did a really good job with this wish because they all fall from the sky and into a nearby meadow where the Emerald City is shining and glimmering in the distance. The Gump is unimpressed.
I must say, this life is stranger than my last one.
Then they realize sullenly in the dim twilight that they never found TikTok. But another green ornament is hanging from the Gump's antler. Who could it be?
It's the Tin Man.
Cut to a celebratory Ozian parade where Dorothy and friends new and old are being lauded with roses and applause, and Mombi is displayed in her cage. The The march ends in the throne room, where the crowd begs Dorothy to stay and be the Queen of Oz, and she tells them that they're the best friends anyone's ever had, but she has to go back home. She desperately wants to be in both places at the same time. And then she turns to face a mirror where Ozma, her friend from the psych hospital, all one and the same, really.
Ozma
appears behind the glass.
I was afraid you would drown. Help me step through the glass, Dorothy.
I would have loved this double toil and trouble lonely ghost mirror magic so much as a kid that I would have watched this over and over just to watch this scene, watch this happen. Fascinating to me, this idea.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Caught in the mirror world. Like the idea of a mirror world was so fascinating to me.
Yeah, and it makes sense that the Mombi in this movie would have, sealed her away in the mirror world because she was surrounded by mirrors to begin with.
As she steps into the room, Jack faints because this is his real mom. The group of dancing women from the courtyard, Mombi's re-embodied heads, are now acting as guards to keep her in check, and they provide last-minute exposition for us. This girl is indeed Ozma, rightful Queen of Oz. Her father was King of Oz before even the wizard came, and Ozma grew up as Mombi's slave. But when the Gnome King promised Mombi 30 beautiful heads if she kept Ozma a secret, she enchanted her into the mirror. The first chance she's given to speak, Ozma forgives Mombi, and says Dorothy has sufficiently punished her by removing her magical powers, because a witch with no magic is a miserable creature indeed. Mombi says,
and that's a fact.
And I guarantee you, Marnie would be echoing that statement.
So similar to the original text, but it's so different.
Tell us about that.
Glinda is the one that strips Mombi of her powers because she's like, you didn't listen to me the first time, I'm taking them away. Glinda's all up in the story.
And I kind of wonder why she wasn't. I'm having a very, very weird deja vu right now, as if we've had this conversation before. We haven't, but holy cow.
It's just strange. Yeah, they just totally negated the whole Glinda concept, which I kind of get it, but I mean, they fixed it. They explained it in their own brand new way, blending both of the books. But Ozma, when she is Mombi's prisoner, she's not trapped in the mirror world. She's turned into a boy. That's where Tip comes from. So she raises Tip as her own slave child from a baby, because what happens is the wizard, that wily wizard guy, when he takes over Oz, something happens and he steals the baby and delivers Ozma to Mombi.
Jareth?
Yeah, right. Reminds me of the babe.
What babe?
She then uses her transformation powers to turn Ozma into a boy so that nobody will ever possibly even guess that maybe this is the baby princess, Ozma. So very interesting, very strange.
Yeah, and like concealed in weird ways. And they just said, nah, she's in the mirror. Look over there.
Not doing that whole thing.
It'd just be hard to convey visually.
It would be very difficult.
And it would take a lot of time.
But also, the main character of The Land of Oz is Tip. Whereas in this movie, they're going strictly Ozma of Oz, where Dorothy is the main character. Just without Ozma basically showing up toward the beginning and being by her side for the rest of the story.
They give her little cameos, little moments.
Yeah. And the other ways that it differs is basically the ruby slippers never show back up. The silver slippers never show back up.
Right.
The Gnome King gets his powers from this magical belt he wears. And so they end up taking the belt off of him. And then that's how...
Magic slippers, magic belt.
Yeah.
Is there a magic hat?
I'm sure somewhere in there.
What if we collect all of them?
Yeah.
What happens then?
Magic wardrobe.
Magic
well, you're just in the Christopher Pierce Cranch world of the magical clothes.
Okay.
You'll know who that is. He's
No.
I'm obsessed with that guy. He's the first American fantasy writer.
That's cool. And he had magical clothes.
And he wrote a story about some magical clothes. It's pretty cool.
His clothes were magic.
Yeah, she then uses the belt to then wish them back to safety and all this stuff. She, fixes everything and then leaves the belt with Ozma to help her rule over Oz appropriately. With unchecked power
comes unchecked responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is approved by Glinda, and everybody lives happily ever after. It's just so strange in the movie because Dorothy wishes that she could be in both places at once while still wearing the ruby slippers.
Yeah, and the slippers glow.
Yeah.
They pulse. They're like, oh, hey, you said a wish.
That's when Ozma shows up. So what is the movie saying?
Are Dorothy and Ozma linked?
Are they two sides of the same coin in the mirror?
I like that.
I don't get it.
That was kind of my interpretation when it happened. I was like, well, are you her? Is she you? And then you keep seeing each other in the mirror. So that's a nice little twist. This is Dorothy in Oz. Dorothy had always been in Oz. maybe Dorothy, like it's just a weird parallel universe thing where Dorothy is living her life over here and Ozma's living her life over here, but really they were always connected and they were never really supposed to meet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would have been cool if she like looked more like Dorothy or transformed into Firuza Balk or something. But what they should do now is do the Star Wars thing where they go in, they superimpose the CGI. Well, it actually wouldn't even be CGI. They would just superimpose grown Firuza Balk into the mirror in all those scenes to make her grown up Dorothy.
Grown up. That would be pretty cool.
Now I'm the ruler of Oz and I'm you and you're me in the future.
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun.
That'd probably break some other timelines and continuums, but I like the
I don't know.
visual.
I think it'd be pretty awesome. Just my opinion.
Dorothy gives the ruby slippers to Ozma, who agrees to wish her back to Kansas on one condition, that she allows Ozma to look in on her from time to time and to bring her back to Oz if ever she wishes. She makes her round saying goodbye to everyone, including Bellina, who quickly decides that she doesn't want to return to that stupid humdrum world.
I don't blame her.
And
why would
just that is pretty existentially heavy. I mean, maybe that's just my own anxiety and depression talking, but that's real heavy to be like, you know what? I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I'll stay here.
I'm not going back there. I'll stay right here.
I can talk here. I can talk. People respect me.
I'm respected as an entity.
They listen to what
if
I
I'm
have
a chicken,
to say.
There's no way in hell I'm going back to the hog trough.
Like literally, I'm just going to be cooked for dinner if I go back home.
Right. No, thank you. No.
Yeah, no. Why would you go home?
But it's a weird metaphorical, like almost like a heaven sort of situation. Like
I was thinking
I'm not going to go back to Earth. Why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because
I'm happy here in the great beyond.
Right. There's this huge, harsh, bright light that engulfs the room. And Firuza and Emma, who plays Ozma, their faces are so sad.
Mm-hmm.
It is impossibly well acted, in my opinion, and well directed for the insanity that's happening in front of us, because their eyes hold all of this knowing sadness.
Yeah,
they're conveying
like, I haven't
in one
really said
look.
Goodbye yet. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I want to go home, but not like right now.
Right, and they're conveying this like this knowing the world is stupid and humdrum, and it's impossibly finite. And though some of us don't always feel like we belong here, there are greater forces that are tying us into the fabric of earthly life. And like, we can't always be where we want to be. We can't always, like, there's just this weird, like, sad obligation of life. I don't know how to put it into better words or more, but I could talk about it forever. It was so captivating.
Well, it's almost like she has to go home and grow up.
Right.
Leaving this world means leaving childhood behind.
Exactly.
And you don't even choose to. It happens quicker than you wanted to.
Exactly.
You can't stop it.
You didn't get to say goodbye.
That's it.
Goodbye.
We're suddenly back in Kansas. Dorothy's eyes open, and she focuses on the nearby stream as she whispers distant, dreamy goodbyes into the wet earth.
She looks so cold.
She's on the bank of the river that she fell into, and then her eyes find something else. Toto, who races to her rescue. Uncle Henry, who's now agile on his leg that was maybe just depressed and lacking in motivation before, rushes over to grab them both. And the search party celebrates as they bring a bedraggled Dorothy to safety. Anim narrates from the next scene that the clinic was hit by lightning and burned to the ground, with Dr. Worley inside, because he ran inside to rescue his machines. That's pretty dark.
I guess that could be why they really hit the whole TikTok's not alive. He's just a machine.
He's a machine. Like, he's a machine. But like, yeah, the idea of like maybe, our dependence on machines, like in the 80s, like there's this surge of like technology, computers, etc. Like we're so dependent on and reliant on and connected with our machines. Like that's a whole rabbit trail that we could go down here. But
I mean,
whoa.
Mombi / Langoudiere is focused on beauty and all this stuff. And then like the Gnome King is more
power. I mean, it's
with,
power, but
power, but he's obsessed with like knickknacks, objects, ornaments,
sure.
Like consumerism almost. It has this like, my stuff is more important than anything else.
Yep. I'm going to make these people into more stuff.
And so it's almost like their commentary, like the way they went with it was the guy was so obsessed with his
vanity,
technology, his machinery,
but he's doing it also for the notoriety of it too.
Right.
There's
the guy was
this
doing
air
it for
of like, I don't really care if this hurts anybody. I'm not really worried about, you need to let me experiment on you because I could gain some fame for this. I could be.
Sure. It damages people, but hey, you know what? Can't make an omelet without a few cracked poison eggs.
Yeah, damaged patients. And they, I guess, all burned up too. And maybe for that reason, Nurse Wilson is being carted away, and her face behind bars is an exact replica of Mombi's.
Mm-hmm.
We see Dorothy wake up at home, refreshed, and she pads over to the mirror on her new vanity, whispering Ozma's name. Ozma appears, glowing and holding Bellina, and Dorothy calls for Aunt Em.
Aunt Em, come and look.
But Ozma shushes her.
What is it, darling? I'm busy.
Nothing, just a reflection.
She flips the mirror around when Aunt Em appears in the doorway, and Aunt Em tells her to put her mirror straight. And it felt, this moment, like Sarah saying goodbye to her stuffed animals in Labyrinth, like that same feeling we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We do a lot of hiding of our realities from one another.
Yeah,
we don't always mean to, but I've noticed how it can happen, like protectively, reflexively. Like in both directions, it's kind of protective. The adults don't want the kids to lose the innocence. The kids don't want to lose the innocence, but they also don't want to be told that they're wrong.
Right.
There's this thin veil that's separating our worldviews, and it's doing that in ways that can't always be helped or even fully like defined or explained.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about it just now. We talk a lot about these in-between moments when we're exiting the innocence of childhood. Even stepping a toe outside of the relative ignorance of childhood makes us want to hold on even tighter.
Man. Yeah.
Aunt Em says it's too nice a day to stay stuck inside, so Dorothy runs out the front door like it's Little House on the Prairie, or maybe even nowhere, because there's a windmill spinning nearby to reveal that they are now in their new farmhouse, and Uncle Henry's back up on his ladder putting the finishing touches on the front porch.
Yeah.
It's the picture of resilience, of this like Midwestern Dust Bowl, like, here we are in this. We're going to make it.
Yeah.
We're going to survive.
It's just choosing to survive.
Choosing to survive. Before we wheel on out of here, let's talk a little bit about the reception of this phantasmic 80s moment.
I'm so curious.
The film earned $2.8 million in its opening weekend, finished in 7th place, and it only grossed around $11 million total, which doesn't sound bad until you realize that that was on a budget of between $24 and $28 million.
It was a flop, huh?
Those who were familiar with the Oz books praised its faithfulness to the source material, such as author and critic Harlan Ellison, who said, "It ain't Judy Garland, it ain't hip-hop, but it's in the tradition of the original Oz books."
No, yeah.
It ain't hip-hop.
Not wrong. Yeah, it's not hip-hop.
I'm going to start saying that. It ain't hip-hop.
It ain't hip-hop.
However, many critics described its tone and overall content as too dark and intense for young children.
Sure.
The New York Times' Janet Maslin said children are sure to be startled by its bleakness, and Ian Nathan of Empire gave the film a 3 out of 5 stars, saying, "This is not so much a sequel, but an homage, and a not good one."
Oh.
My favorite review, though I can't decide how much I agree with it, came from Canadian film critic Jay Scott, who felt the protagonists were too creepy and weird for viewers to relate or sympathize with. Dorothy's friends are as weird as her enemies, which is faithful to the original Oz books, but turns out not to be a virtue on film, where the eerie has a tendency to remain eerie, no matter how often we're told it's not.
They just hadn't seen The Nightmare Before Christmas yet.
I mean, yeah, 85. They didn't know what was coming.
They didn't know.
In conclusion, Dorothy's
man.
journey in Return to Oz is partly a quest to recover from the psychological trauma of her experiences in Oz originally. Like some other characters we've discussed at length recently, Dorothy has been dismissed as delusional by adults, and her return to Oz may be seen as a manifestation of her need to process and overcome this trauma, as she's been silenced and disbelieved by all of society, essentially, or at least the society that she's been exposed to.
Mm.
Her psychological growth is evident in her evolving sense of self as she's facing emotional and physical challenges that test her courage, her independence, her resilience, and the psychological theme of self-discovery runs parallel as she's trying to find her place both in the real world and in Oz. This tension between Dorothy's internal world and external pressures, which force her to confront her fears and assert her sense of agency, are familiar to all of us, Dorothys and Darklings alike. So, let's revisit our big question from earlier.
Okay.
The first question that the film posits. Was all of this musing, magic, and coping mechanism of a terrified and traumatized child mind? Is the ever-imaginative Dorothy simply hanging on to another waking dream there at the end when she conjures something ethereal in the low morning light? Or is Ozma really in the mirror?
That's the question.
Baum himself, as we said before, was rigid in his insistence that Oz in canon was as real as Kansas.
Yep.
And he disliked the idea that imagination equals delusion. He wrote Oz as a utopian alternative society and not as a psychological metaphor, and he wanted children to view fantasy as meaningful and legitimate and not escapist madness. But I would say that that's not the only way to find it meaningful or legitimate. Don't roll over, Mr. Baum. But does it really matter in the end whether or not it was real in canon? maybe the friends she made along the way were the friends and enemies she made along the way.
I would say more so that the canon is that it is real, but it's still fun to play with as like an adaptation using metaphor.
But is it okay for the canon in Baum's books to be real, but to differ from the canon in Return to Oz?
I think most people would agree with that.
In the real world, Dorothy is encouraged to forget her journey to Oz. This is a journey cast by the grown-ups in her life as delusion, requiring industrial horrors and electroshock treatment to wipe it all away. In Oz, the Gnome King offers her the same bargain, to leave Oz and all that she's seen and known behind her.
Mm-hmm.
But preserving her experiences, real or imagined, and therefore all that she's learned and tried to process, despite the pressure from adults to set it aside, becomes Dorothy's animating purpose and the basis of her biggest choices in the film. And to this, just that need to preserve all of the experiences, I deeply, deeply relate. Dorothy makes use of everything, all of her observations and exposures, good and bad, down to, the jack-o'-lantern that she's handed and the decorations in her room. I liked how a blog that I read phrased this, but then I lost the link. So if these are your words, please come yell at me in our DMs. But they all become her enemies and unlikely allies in an adventure that burrows as deep inward as it expands outward.
Oh, that's nice.
Defining canon however we need to define it, I understand. But the way that I land, and drop a house atop me if you must, to me, the dream and trauma structure is more interesting than Oz being real. Because while fiction is always applicable, that slant makes it more easily applicable to all of us watching from the wings of the real world, even in 2025. I think that the common thread, no matter your personal favorite prevailing theory, is that Dorothy's self-sufficiency comes in part due to her rich inner world, and her path, real or imagined, again, becomes a metaphor for trauma, recovery, and for childhood at large. We can only use what we have to make sense of the things that we see.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of us, what we have is fiction. It is this fiction. And that's a cornerstone of what we talk about on the show and what I talk about in my life almost daily.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what matters to me.
Hey, well, there you go. There you go.
And that's Return to Oz. We've returned. We returned to Oz.
We've returned from the Return to Oz. It's like Back to the Future.
Yeah. That's better. We've returned from Return to Oz.
Yeah, no, I agree that it is more interesting from a psychological, standpoint if it's not real, because then everything has meaning.
Right.
If it's real, then nothing has
You're just
meaning.
in a place.
It's just chaotic.
Exactly.
It is what it is. If it's not real, then everything has to have a purpose or a reason or some level of significance to you. Like when you dream about something or other people.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it not being real gives everything significance, whereas if it is real, nothing has significance, which is, backwards and ironic. But
I mean, you can use things that are real experiences, real, like it has significance, but it's different.
I mean, it's like looking at just take a deconstructed ghost story. Sure, if the ghost is real, there's usually a pretty simple explanation. It's creepy, but it's a ghost. If it's not a ghost and it's psychological, there's way more to explore there about this person who's, experiencing a haunting or hallucinating events.
Right, because it's coming from some emotional place inside them.
Right. It makes it more emotionally driven, which is always more interesting to us as humans. So
I agree.
But even the, Wizard of Oz, the original movie, they finish the movie and do the whole, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there.
Yeah, I mean, they thought in the 30s
to go ahead
that
and
this
say,
was the more interesting angle.
This didn't really happen. She was dreaming. But back then, that was the trope. Oh, it was all a dream. That was the big gimmick.
Right. I think we've talked about that on the show before, when that started and where it came from.
It's old, but it's outdated at this point.
It's very old.
It's the whole woman in the window.
Because now we want to know what's going on inside somebody's head. Even if it was all a dream, why?
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense to me that they would continue that motif almost using, in this movie because the original film did the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's partially why I was confused and forgot about the house thing, because Dorothy in the original movie wakes up in her own bed.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I know?
What do any of us know?
I didn't make the movie. I just watched it and enjoyed the hell out of it.
That's what you want to hear on our podcast, huh?
No, I enjoyed it. I had so much fun.
Me too.
It was such a cozy,
I did.
weirdly comforting movie.
It was, this was a surprisingly engaging film in ways that I didn't expect.
To be as
I did like
odd and slow and clumsy as it was, I enjoyed it.
Didn't matter because you were vibing. It was the right vibe.
I think we give it our pretty dark stamp of approval.
Oh yeah, if that's a thing, we're doing it. That's for sure.
We should sell actual stamps on our merch store.
Speaking of selling things, our merch store is back in order. I don't remember if we told you guys that last time, but
It's been so long.
It's been so long since we last spoke, but it is out there. It's on a tab on our website, that'sprettydark.com. You can check that out if you would like.
Sure can.
You can also get in touch with us, get more of us, figure us out, psychoanalyze us if you find us on socials at That's Pretty Dark Podcast on Instagram, at That's Pretty Dark on TikTok, and not the robot, the platform.
Yeah. Good distinction. Important.
Very important. You can also reach out to us via email at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can go to our Patreon and give us your hard-earned cash. Patreon.com/TPD podcast.
Which we greatly appreciate.
Yes, and we do have a patron to thank.
I thought so.
So thanks, Robert G., for coming on board.
Thanks for being here.
We really, really appreciate you.
And if you want to join Robert, come on over and we will be very excited to shout you out next time.
For our last episode of the year.
Wow. Yeah. One more episode in 2025. We know the schedule has been kind of chaotic lately, and I hate to be that guy, but we do have some very exciting things happening in 2026.
Oh, no, don't say it.
So.
Don't say it.
So if you all can just hang in there with us a little bit, we appreciate your grace while we have been ill and recovering from October in general.
Mentally ill.
Do we have anything else?
I don't think so. Just the holidays coming up. Getting excited. Ready for that figgy pudding, those sugar plum fairies, those ghosts.
Yeah, Christmas is right around the corner. And we're going to have some Christmas darkness to get into your ears.
Yeah, we
just as soon as we can.
Holiday hauntedness. More or less. It's more just some Christmas folklore. Some midwinter, old world folklore.
But you guys like that, right?
Pretty excited about it.
In the meantime, tip your wheelers.
Got to.
Tip your TikToks. Lay your eggs.
Hey.
And don't forget to click those heels.
Mm.
And remember that especially at the holidays, however they look for you, there is truly no place like home.
Buddy, way to bring that home.
And do what I can.
I approve. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for being here. We missed you. We're glad to be back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'll be back again soon.
Bye now.
Bye.
That's Pretty Dark Podcast is produced by Kaylin Andrews and me, Christian Baxter Mott.
With music by Jonathan Simmons and cover design by Halftone Horror.
You can support our show by supporting our sponsors, or go to patreon.com/TPD podcast to unlock all the Pretty Dark bonus content we have in store.
Please share your experiences and let us know what shows, films, or villains still haunt you from childhood on our socials or at that'sprettydarkpodcast@gmail.com.
For all other information, visit our website, that'sprettydark.com.
Remember, you're never really alone.
So, until next time, sweet dreams, everyone.
There's no place like home.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey Darklings, Kaylin here. We know our generation has a surplus of pretty darkness in common, and if there's one thing unpacking our upbringing has taught us, it's just how essential therapy is for shining a flashlight on the darkness in our own lives. I don't know where I'd be without mine. I believe every human can benefit from the perspective of a licensed therapist. Whether you're familiar with your own inner workings or you're just looking for a listening ear, you can give BetterHelp online therapy a try by going to betterhelp.com/prettydark and receive 10% off your first month. I get that online therapy can be tricky, but I've been seeing my therapist online since 2020, and I'm here to tell you that it's absolutely worth it. Getting started is always the hardest part, and BetterHelp makes that easy. You can begin right from your phone or computer in whatever way makes you most comfortable, via good old-fashioned phone calls, video chats, or even messaging, if that's more your style. We enjoy this frightful nostalgia and learning about how it all connects, but Darklings know we're also passionate about healing and growing from what we learn. If you dare to do the same, head to betterhelp.com/prettydark. There you can answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people like us. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time, so you're sure to find the right connection. Millennials are ditching the stigma and owning our mental health. And with BetterHelp, you can build a relationship with a professional all from the comfort of your own home, just how we like it. Visit betterhelp.com/prettydark or choose That's Pretty Dark Podcast during sign up and enjoy 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/prettydark.